Hey. I was actually going to start this video kind of shitting on Mother Nature. And then I got to the location of my hike today. And I feel like I kind of have to eat my words a bit because it is quite pretty out here. Indeed it is. Look at that shit. So yeah, maybe I have to temper my words a little bit. But only a little bit. I do still think that it's pretty fucked up, nature and all. But it's got at least it's got a good aesthetic to it. At least that. It's pretty. I'll definitely give it that. At least on the surface. So anyways, to the point of my video, talking about nature and shit. Well, I guess not exactly nature. The universe and whatnot, as always. Nothing new there. But kind of been thinking about sort of this whole whatever the fuck this is that I'm going through, and how I feel like I'm almost like, you know, with this whole shit of me not exactly going off the grid, but going out into nature, minimal distractions, just my thoughts, dopamine detoxing, whatever the fuck, contemplating existence, all that fucking, I don't know, self-serving, existentialist, philosophizing bullshit, whatever the hell. Yeah, there you go. My loner philosophy arc, that's what I'm on right now. Anyways, I was thinking about that, and I kind of viewed kind of an analogy for what I'm doing kind of came up for me. And it's like, I feel like I'm almost doing like my own subjective version of an autopsy of reality. Now, that might sound pretentious, might sound ridiculous, but that's the best analogy that came to mind. Like, I feel like I'm just kind of peeling away the skin of the world and looking underneath and seeing what I fucking find. Funny thing is, a lot of other fucking people have done this. And the funny thing is, I feel like a lot of times when other people do this, especially when it comes to people that are kind of more in the Eastern philosophy way of thinking, they kind of, when they sort of like take away the skin of reality and sort of like peer underneath the surface, they find that despite the veneer of reality, underneath is just light and love and purity, and that all the woes and difficulties of existence are just mere illusions, and that the truth of the universe is just love, and that you have to just not take life so seriously and calm down and relax and trust in the nature of the universe. Funny fucking thing is, I'm doing my own version of that. Like, I'm even meditating every day. Not that long, 15 minutes. I have, even though somebody called me out in not my last video, but the one before last, I do still have my shark phone with me. But I've disabled all notifications, not really using social media at all on it whatsoever while I'm here. It's basically just a glorified GPS and camera right now. I'm just not using it for anything else. My Nokia is basically the only way I'm using it for actual text communication, and I have virtually no contacts on that, so that's not really an issue either. So I'm pretty much tuned out. Because yeah, camera and GPS has existed for a good deal longer than the shark phone has. So I think I'm going back to, like, I don't know, fucking late 90s, early 2000s technology, in my opinion. Although obviously the camera on the shark phone is better than the cameras were back then. Anyways, I digress. Fucking totally went on a tangent there. But the funny thing is, so I'm doing this shit. I'm trying to sort of disconnect, get rid of the sort of dopamine detox and all that shit. Try and, you know, contemplate reality, contemplate my place in it and all that shit. And the funny thing is, I'm finding the opposite fucking realization when I sort of peer under the skin of reality, at least from my perspective. So when all these like Eastern philosophists and stuff like that, and other more positive philosophers look under the surface of reality and they see that, oh, it's all secretly love and light and peace. I'm doing that. And what I'm finding is just a fetid, maggot-riddled corpse. That's what I'm seeing underneath it all. It's just a fucking abyss. Now, it's funny I'm saying this with like a bit of a smirk on my face, because it feels like, despite the fact that I feel like underneath it all, reality really is quite disturbing and bleak and dark. I'm weirdly at peace with it. So maybe there is something to be said to that. I don't know. I'm contradictorily kind of more lonely than ever, more disillusioned by life than ever, but also at the same time, I'm just strangely okay with it. I don't know. It's weird. Like I just feel weirdly calm and acceptant of how awful most things are. It's weird. I can't really articulate it fully. And to kind of go into that analogy of sort of peering underneath the surface of reality, the skin of reality, and seeing just a fetid corpse. I kind of feel like this reminds me of I don't know who the philosopher was, but there's one philosopher, one of the more bleaker philosophers, which are my preferred types of philosophers because I have a bleak perspective on life as is, if that wasn't already readily apparent. They basically said that the universe is like the corpse of a decaying, dying, or dead God. And that we're basically all just like bacteria or maggots feasting on that corpse as it slowly dies and withers away. Now that sounds like a good name for like a heavy metal album. Or like either the album or like the name of the band itself, like decaying corpse of a dying God. That totally sounds like it could be like some metal band or something like that. But I don't know, I kind of feel like that is sort of a good analogy for how reality is. It does kind of feel that way. And that we are, myself included, all just kind of little maggots, bacteria, whatever you would have it, feasting on that corpse. And the thing is, I know some people might be like offended by that and be like, well, how dare you compare me to a maggot? I am better than a maggot. I'm a human. It's like, shut up, idiot. You should only feel so lucky to be compared to a maggot, because at least maggots have a vital and very important role in the ecosystem. What fucking vital and important role does a human have? So you should be flattered by the comparison of being a maggot. I wish I was a maggot, honestly. So maybe that's even too generous of a comparison. Maybe we aren't even maggots feasting on the corpse. We're some even more useless organism. And I guess that kind of ties into like, and I've talked about this shit so many times before, whatever, I'll say it anyways. That one of the biggest things that just sort of bothers me about humans and humanity and stuff like that is just how fucking arrogant we are. The fact that we think that we are better than maggots because, I don't know, we look better because we're smarter, although that's debatable with some people. That's pretty much it. I don't know. I guess that makes us better. I don't fucking think it does. I mean, sure, we got more power. We do have more intelligence. But how the fuck do we use that? Most of the time, not very well. Not very well at all. And that's just what kind of bothers me a lot about humans. I think if humans were just more humble, more willing to get their heads out of their own fucking asses and stop thinking they're so goddamn exceptional, it would make the world a much better place. Beyond also that, like, just, you know, a lot of our chemical wiring is pretty fucked up too. Like, just the fact that, like, our reward systems are targeted on such dumb shit is another big problem with us. Like, and again, I am not exempting myself from this at all. I'm fighting with this shit constantly. But, like, the fact that we are even susceptible to, like, the stupid dopamine addiction that so many people are dealing with is just exposes such a massive flaw with our inherent nature, where, like, you know, how, like, social media sort of capitalized on our obsessive need for validation and social belongingness, and it's capitalized that and turned it into a stupid addiction. Or just how our minds always go for, like, the most metaphorically sugary enticement. Not even just like, I mean, literally sugar sometimes too, but also like mental sugar too. How it always goes for the thing that has the most like bells and whistles to it. Like, that's kind of our kid brain aspect, rather than like the stuff that's actually like maybe not so readily apparently great, but in the long run is a lot better for us. Another flaw in our fucking nature. The fact that, like I just said, we're fucking arrogant. We think that just because we're smarter, more complex, definitely we are, bigger than like a maggot is, we're better than them. No, we're not. No, we're fucking not. I mean, to me, it kind of almost reeks of the same kind of arrogance that like the Greek gods had, because they thought that they were gods. They could get away with all sorts of horrible shit that the average human couldn't. You know, it's why Zeus, I mean, they can, but that doesn't mean they're right. Like, for instance, like Zeus was able to get away with like murder, rape, genocide, just all sorts of petty, horrible shit. Like, Zeus was a real fucking piece of shit. Most Olympic gods are a piece of shit in their own right, but Zeus is probably one of the worst out of all of them. And I think that just really reminds me of how arrogant humans are, because we're basically the gods of this world, although we're kind of killing our world at the same time, but whatever, it doesn't change the fact that we're still basically gods of this world. And we think that basically we have the same attitude of like Greek gods. We're like, oh, because we're the biggest swinging dicks out here, or the biggest swinging clitorises out here, it's a weird analogy, whatever, that we can just be arrogant pricks that think that we're hot shit and can get away with stuff that we really shouldn't be ethically getting away with. That we think that we're just amazing just because, yeah, like I said, we have the most power and we're the most complex. Anyways, I don't know. I hate buying into that fucking Greek god mentality that so many fucking humans like to buy into. I ain't shit, man. I ain't fucking shit, and you watching this, you ain't shit either. Or, you know, maybe you are shit, but you're not as big shit as you think you are. Maybe that was a little bit harsh. I'm not gonna say you ain't shit, but you ain't better than a maggot, my friend. You ain't. Odds are you're probably worse than a maggot. I am. I don't fucking contribute to the ecosystem at all. I'm a detriment. All I give to the ecosystem is a fucking carbon footprint. That's it. I don't do anything good for this fucking reality. Not really. I mean, sure. Do a bit of volunteer work, but that just helps out other humans, which, you know, sure, I guess it's a nice thing to do. But I still fucking produce tons of trash. I still fucking use electricity, which, you know, again, contributes to my carbon footprint. I don't eat meat anymore. Try to avoid other animal products, but I had a fucking veggie burger the other day with cheese in it, so even in that regard, it's fucked up. But I mean, hell, even if eating a whole vegan diet, you're still contributing to the fucking farming practices, like vegetable farms and stuff like that. They're definitely better than meat farms, but they're still fucked up. They still fuck up the ecosystem. Any kind of modern industrial farming fucks up the ecosystem. So yeah, I ain't shit. There, I'll say it. Yeah, I ain't shit. Yeah, I don't really know where else to go with that. I guess what else I was going to say is, I don't know, I feel like I wanted to say something else about all this stuff. It is really pretty out here. Oh yeah, I was going to say this, how I've kind of been realizing that, like, even though I've mostly been able to remove myself from distractions on this whole trip of mine, I am still, like, having some minimal distractions. Like when I get home, you know, I try to do some writing and stuff like that, some creative stuff. We'll get home, whatever, get to my Airbnb. But I've still been like watching TV shows, namely Dexter, watching the newest versions of it. I'm on Original Sin right now, the flashback one, and it's actually surprisingly good. I was very skeptical, but it's pretty good. Anyways, I do recommend it. It's better than New Blood, in my opinion, even. Anyways, so I've been watching it. I've been totally disconnected, and part of me got guilty about that and saying like, oh, what, you really can't deal with just being with your thoughts 24/7 and alone, and just no modern distractions or anything like that. And truth be told, no, I can't. I can do it for a good while. Like right now, when I'm walking around, when I'm done with this video, I'm just gonna keep walking around without any distractions. But when I get back, yeah, I'll be honest, the fucking void does get to me. It's not even boredom that's the issue. That's fine, because I'm pretty much bored all the time. I'm used to it. Even when I'm having distractions, I'm still fucking bored. It's not that. It's the fucking abyss. Because back in the day, like, I can think when I was a kid, didn't have access to YouTube, didn't have access to like binging shows and stuff like that, where I could be around more minimal distractions. And I was like, oh, I'm like wondering, like, why was I so okay with that now and I can't do it now? And again, it's not boredom. It's the fact that back then, sure, I didn't have all these distractions, but I had something else, and that was, well, like connection. Connection, I'd hope. Kind of going to what my video was yesterday. I just had the naivety of youth, and just sort of like, I didn't have that abyss in my mind. It was a little bit there for sure, like especially when my parents got divorced, that added to it, but it wasn't like how it was now. So I was more comfortable in just reality itself. It just felt more safe to me. It felt much more welcoming to me. I mean, fuck, I remember when I was a kid, I used to get up at like 6 in the morning, full of energy, excited for the fucking day, you know? So reality wasn't a daunting, miserable prospect to me back then. That's what made up for it. And now, like I said, it's not boredom, it's not understimulation, it's the fact that when I tune out, like the world around me just feels almost like a threat. Yeah, it just feels like a black hole. So it isn't just that the lack of stimulation is making me bored, it's that I just feel uncomfortable. And it's kind of tied into this whole thing where I feel like when I'm doing this mental autopsy of reality, or my perception of it, because everything's subjective, my version of reality is not the truth, even though it feels like the truth to me. You know, who's to say that the fucking more positive philosophers aren't correct and I'm wrong? I don't fucking know. There's no way to know for sure. But my view, as I'm doing this mental autopsy of reality, is I just feel like the abyss just keeps on going. You know? So like I can do it sometimes, I can do it in moderation, try to analyze myself, my true nature, the world and all that shit. And I can kind of delve into it, go into that sort of mental abyss. But at a certain point, it fucking drains the shit out of me. It's depressing. And at a certain point, I just have to cut it off. I have to distract myself. It's almost like fasting. And then at a certain point, it's like, I need to eat something. Because that's pretty much how it is. It's like the abyss of my fucking thought well. God, this is pretentious. I know I'm jerking myself off here with all these big fucking words, but whatever. It just gets too much at a certain point. It's like, yeah, I need to have like some kind of TV show, some kind of video game, some kind of other, I don't know, what other kind of distractions out there, whatever. I guess occasionally even socializing with people, even though I've become much more introverted. But yeah, of course I still want to socialize with others. I need that. I need that to just have some fucking reprieve from the endless goddamn abyss of my fucking mind. And what I think is just the reality surrounding me. So that's really what gets to me. It's not the boredom. It's just the fucking aching emptiness that I feel like lies at the heart of this fucking universe. And again, you know, it's not all bad. Even if we are in the corpse of a dying or dead god, there's still little nuggets of, you know, little nuggets of morsels of still palatable flesh here and there. I mean, I was actually kind of thinking about that. Like maybe that's why Earth is like, at least in our surrounding area, it's like the only place with viable life on it. I mean, I guess there's other planets that have like bacteria. Like I think Mars has bacterial life, which is something, I guess. But like Earth is like pretty much in our surrounding area. It's like really the only properly life-supporting planet. And maybe that's just because like in our neck of the woods, on this sort of fragment of the dying god universe we're in, that's the one that still has a little bit of morsel of flesh that all the fucking maggots have sort of coalesced around. And maybe if you go several gajillion light years away, you'll find another little morsel of flesh that other little maggots on this corpse of a dying god are congealing around. And yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the reason why we just happen to be in such a dead area of the universe, because it literally is dead around us. You know, maybe if we went several trillion years back, obviously there's the whole Big Bang and all that shit. Well, maybe that was it. Maybe that's what you know what? Okay, this is gonna sound really ridiculous. Maybe that is what the Big Bang was. Maybe the Big Bang was God getting shot in the fucking head. There you go. Either by something else or God just killed himself. God was just like, I can't stand the existential nightmare of being an all-powerful being trapped in a horrible bubble of complete solitude with no other company. Because that's one thing that I notice people don't really get at, is just how depressingly lonely it would be to be a monotheistic God. Like, people in the Bible are just like, at the beginning there was God, and then God was just sitting alone in some fucking void and decided, I'm just gonna create the universe. But have you really thought about how fucking depressing it would be to be God? Just be like some fucking lonely, some lonely fuck sitting in an abyss with no other company at all. And then even God's creation of the universe is still just kind of an extension of himself. It's kind of like just some lonely fuck sitting in a room and decides like, I'm gonna make a Lego set. And I guess breathe life into the Lego set. I don't know, somehow make them autonomous mechanisms, but they're all still reflections of me. I'm still alone. I mean, it reminds me a lot of sort of like Will Smith's character in like I Am Legend. If anybody's seen that, where he's like, you know, he's all alone. He's got his dog for company at least. At least he does have his dog. So God doesn't even have a fucking dog for company. But at least Will Smith has his dog, which is something. But he needs, you know, human companionship. So he makes all these mannequins, like dresses them up and shit like that. And they're his companions, basically. And he starts like pretending that they're other people. He talks to them like they're other people. but, you know, they're really not. But he starts buying more and more into the delusion of it that, yeah, I have the company of all these other people. But, you know, beyond his dog, he's fucking alone. And I'm wondering if God is just kind of the same way. God has just sort of breathed the illusion of life into all this universe, all these other people, like, and we're just little mini extensions of God's essence. But at the end of the day, we're just reflections of this God, of this fucking mad, horribly alone God. And maybe that's also why fucking solitary confinement is so torturous, because it reminds us of the true nature of existence. It reminds us of the true nature of what it's like to be God, just trapped in a void with no company at all, just alone. Maybe that's sort of just it, you know? God at a certain point couldn't take being a completely solitary being, decided to fucking shoot themselves in the head, and we're just the still lingering remnants, the still little lingering fragments of this dead creator's creations. Just a whole bunch of Frankenstein monsters wandering around after Frankenstein shot himself. Or maybe Edward Scissorhands type of shit. Like, we're Edward Scissorhands, and God is like Vincent Price at the beginning. Was it Vincent Price? I think it was Vincent Price at the beginning of the movie, dying from a heart attack. So the creator's dead, creation still roams the earth, unsure what the fuck to do. And that's why we don't get a fucking instruction manual at the start of our life, other than the ones we bullshitly make up on our own accord, like all the religious texts of the world that have absolutely no proof of being true or false for that matter. Yeah, maybe they are true, but they're probably not. But that we're just scrambling for some kind of purpose. And why we didn't get a definitive purpose is because, well, the creator ain't there anymore. Creator's fucking dead. Can't give us an instruction manual how to live anymore because the dude fucking killed himself or died from a fucking cosmological heart attack. I don't know. Wow, this rant really just went in fucking weird-ass directions. I don't know if anything I said made sense, but as I often say in my videos, it made sense to me, and that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, I am embracing the solipsistic, lonely nature of God, and I'm making these videos just for myself. I'm kidding, I'm not really. I am sort of making these videos to maybe connect other people out there, just to vent my thoughts. And I don't know, hopefully somebody resonates with them. Because I resonate with them. This is so self-indulgent. All right, I'm gonna get my metaphorical dick out of my mouth here and stop self-fillating. And I think that's gonna be the end of my rant for today. Yeah, that's that. I'm gonna go and fucking turn this fucking chart phone off now. Upload this shit later. And I'll enjoy the rest of my walk in peace. Namaste. All right, peace out.